Good morning and welcome to Townsville, Queensland. We've had a lovely 4 days up here in the largest city in northern Australia. It's quite a big city, Townsville. I think the population's around 200,000. So it is actually bigger than Cairns, which is about 150, and it's also bigger than Darwin, which has a similar population to Cairns. Anyway, today we are indeed heading up the coast. We are going to Cairns and we're flying on a QantasLink Dash 8 400, obviously in economy class. I'm flying the Dash 8 for quite some time now. Last time I've flown it would have been between Sydney and Canberra. Not many of them around operating on the west coast of Australia, in West Australia where I live. It's more of a Fokker 100, Boeing 717 territory, yes. So it's a really good opportunity to fly up there today. It's only about a 45-minute flight, 400 kilometres I think. Got a window seat, we're flying at low altitude, so should be some spectacular views of the tropical Queensland coastline on the way up. And yeah, if the clouds stay away, hopefully even get some good views of the Great Barrier Reef to show you guys. But for now, I'll just show you a view of what the harbour of Townsville looks like. As you see, you've got the port over there. You got the ferry terminal where you get the Sea-Link ferry out to Magnetic Island, which is directly behind the port there. We did that a couple of days ago. It was fantastic. And then yeah, looking back over here, you can see the city of Townsville itself. It's got quite a nice marina there. It's got a maritime museum, and then quite a lot of historical buildings. We're in sort of South Townsville here. So yeah, just behind those apartments you would see more of the skyline itself. But it's pretty impressive for a regional city, definitely one of the biggest in Australia. And yeah, it's a really good time here. So yeah, let's check out the hotel. Alrighty, we've just arrived at Townsville International Airport. It's a very quick trip from the CBD. It's only about a 10 to 15 minute drive, or 8 kilometres. Just got an Uber here today. It only costs about $20, so it was a pretty stress-free way to get here. Anyway, Townsville International Airport, believe it or not, as the title suggests, is an internationally certified airport. It is the 10th busiest airport in Australia, and immediately prior to the pandemic, it was averaging around 1.5 million yearly passenger movements, which still puts it well behind that of Cairns up the road, but it nonetheless is quite a busy airport. Doesn't currently have any international flights, unfortunately, but it has had flights to Bali just before the pandemic, and a little bit earlier in its days it also had direct flights to Singapore. Anyway, we are now in the terminal, so check-in for Qantas is more of the old school variety where you've got the man check-in desk. But yeah, here this morning it's very, very quiet, so basically I was served immediately, bags tagged and off the way. Anyway, we've got our boarding pass in hand and our luggage tag, so now we're going to just head up to the Qantas Club here in Townsville. This morning, luckily, I've got a complimentary lounge invitation. Just with the Qantas Club here in Townsville, be aware that it doesn't open to 1 hour before each departure. So there's not necessarily continuous Qantas departures all throughout the day. Depending on your flight, you may have to wait some time for the Qantas Club to actually open. For my flight today, it doesn't seem to be a problem. There seems to be enough Qantas departures, every hour or so to keep the lounge continuously open. But yeah, it can be a problem. So yeah, don't just rock up to the airport a couple hours early unless you're absolutely sure the Qantas Club will be open. Today there does seem to be enough continuous departures throughout the day with Qantas that the lounge does appear to be continuously open, even though I'm here several hours before my flight. There is a priority pass linked participating restaurant at the airport called Castle Hill Cafe. So if you do find yourself without a lounge, you might be able to check out that for a free feed or a drink instead. Even though I am going to the Qantas Club today, I did indeed go there to get a nice meal and a drink. But anyway, we are now at the Qantas Club. It's actually it's a fairly large Qantas Club, especially for a regional airport. Very much as what you would expect. It's not quite as big as a capital city sort of flagship Qantas Club, but it's certainly not too shabby either. Plenty of comfortable seating around, some sort of limited views of the tarmac action. It has been blacked out a little bit to keep the sun out, but yeah, there's good range of food there. It is after 12 o'clock, so there's a reasonably well stocked tended bar as well. So yeah, very enjoyable time in the Qantas Club. Easily queued over an hour there before my flight, which is very pleasant. But yeah, Townsville Airport, if you're getting a jet service, you generally got to go up the escalators or the stairs where the departure gates for those flights are. If you're just flying on a Dash 8, QantasLink or whatever aircraft Skytrans fly, basically you don't have to go very far from the Qantas Club at all. The departures from the ground level. So yeah, there's some great views out over the tarmac. Unlike Cairns, there's some really good opportunities for plane spotting. That's from within the terminal building itself. So really well worth checking out here at Cairns. You can definitely see lots of Dash 8s and Embraers up in Cairns. So now, without further ado, it is pretty well time to board and head off to Cairns this afternoon. As I alluded to before, departures for the Dash 8 400 services depart from the lower level just outside the Qantas Club. So it's literally like a 5 metre walk from the Qantas Club, which is very convenient. So yeah, once you do go through the gate, you do have to walk out along a pathway along the tarmac. So that provides some even more amazing views of the tarmac literally at ground level, and then you walk up into the Dash 8 400. So really cool experience here. But yeah, Qantas operate 3 types of Dash 8 aircrafts in their fleet. We are flying the Dash 8 400 today, which is the largest in the fleet, has 74 seats. So yeah, now we're entering the Qantas Dash 8 400. As you see, the Dash 8s have definitely been very well used and patronised across the QantasLink network. They are still a fairly compact aircraft with 74 seats. Seating is 2x2. So yeah, it is certainly a fairly unique way to fly. We are seated towards the back of the plane today on the left hand side. As you see, seat pitch is fairly tight. The seats are, fairly stock standard comfort-wise. It is a little bit cramped, but for a 45-minute flight up to Cairns, it's really not a problem. Still had room to put my bag in the seat in front, so that's all good. The seat has a fold-back tray table, fairly stock standard, and also you've got a safety card, air sickness bag, and the Qantas magazine for literature for your reading in the seat pocket, so fairly standard here. Today's flight looks like it's fairly busy, not exactly full, but fairly well patronised nonetheless. Shouldn't really be too much of a bother considering it's such a short flight. We are located on the left-hand side of the aircraft, pretty well towards the back. That means we should have some great views out the window of the landing gear and also the left-hand side turboprop engine. So that should provide for some really great views as the engine powers up this afternoon ahead of our taxi out to the runway, and there should be some really great views as we take out of Townsville itself. But for now, in the meantime, really hope you just sit back, relax and enjoy our takeoff out of Townsville this afternoon. Once in the air, I will then offer my thoughts on today's in-flight service and some of the other amenities on the aircraft. I'll also show you some good views of the Queensland coastline as we track north today, and also some interesting views of Palm Island as well. But in the meantime, just sit back, relax and enjoy the takeoff out of Townsville. hands in the air and the seatbelt sign is off. The crew are obviously very aware today's flight is very short, so they're certainly quick to get out of their seats and start today's in-flight service. Very impressed with today's in-flight service. It's such a short flight, but the crew come around to provide a pretty good snack. It's like a little plastic platter that has cheese, crackers, almonds and olives. So certainly a pretty decent little snack there. They also have a full range of drinks that you can select from as well, including soft drinks, tea, coffee, wine and beer. So I was really impressed to be able to have an alcoholic drink as well on such a short flight. Anyway, perhaps the best part of this flight is its views. Not 100% familiar with the Great Barrier Reef, but there's certainly some magnificent views out over Palm Island and along the Queensland coastline as we track up to Cairns. Not 100% sure exactly where the Great Barrier Reef is underneath, but I'm sure it's somewhat down there as well. So really great day for flying. You can really just do it for a scenic flight if anything else. So really enjoyable. So yeah, what better time now? I'll just let you watch some of the scenery as we go up to Cairns. So yeah, on today's flight, we're only reaching a cruising altitude of 16,000 feet. So obviously you'll see some great views if it's not too cloudy outside. Probably only about half an hour after taking off, we are already well and truly making our descent into Cairns. So what better time now to just sit back, relax and enjoy our descent into Cairns on a fairly sunny afternoon. So yeah, we're now landed in Cairns on time, and that was a really great flight today. A short one, but certainly a good one. As we disembark, once again, just like in Townsville, it appears you've got to take a brief walk across the tarmac along the path before entering the Cairns Airport terminal building. That provides another opportunity to get some great advantages of all the different planes that you'll see at Cairns Airport. But yeah, that was a great flight. Really couldn't fault any aspect of the service. They did a really good job to provide, a really good quality service, even despite it being such a short flight. So full stars there to the cabin crew for that. Just a bit of information on the cost of the flight itself. It's not the most competitively priced there. If you're paying cash, usually the fares start at around $191 each way. It's a fairly standard sort of price, doesn't really increase or decrease that much. There is about 5 daily departures at least. Some days there's even more, so there is plenty of selection on the route. Regional Express also provide a few departures as well, but their services are certainly not as frequent. But yeah, if you want to save a bit of money, you can, like I did, use Qantas frequent flyer points. I paid about 8,000 points and about $30 tax, so that made it certainly a bit more affordable. And obviously being able to use the Qantas Club made it a pretty compelling option. But yeah, you could also take the Spirit of Queensland train. Only costs $50 between Townsville and Cairns. Although it does take about 6 hours, it's not the quickest of journeys, but it is a daytime journey. And if you like to see the scenery up close, it can be a good option. Just make sure you book in advance, because it can be quite popular, especially people taking the whole route all the way from Brisbane. But yeah, that just gives a bit of perspective on flight itself. Overall, really enjoyed it. Could just be a little bit pricey if you're paying for cash for such a short flight. So once we arrive into the terminal building, I can't help but notice exactly how much busier Cairns Airport is again compared to Townsville down the road, even though Townsville is actually the bigger of the two cities. Cairns Airport, in fact, had around 5 million yearly passenger movements just prior to the pandemic, putting it nearly as busy as Adelaide International Airport, believe it or not, and roughly on par with that of the Gold Coast Airport. Even has a rather decent range of international flights, obviously servicing a pretty big tourism market up here. So yeah, that's just a few interesting facts about Cairns Airport. But yeah, today's we're at the baggage carousel. The bags come out pretty quickly, so that is really good. Cairns Airport's only about, like Townsville, it's only about a 10-minute drive or so into the city, and about $15 to $20 for a taxi or Uber. Alrighty, we just landed in Cairns in far north tropical Queensland. That was a really good flight this afternoon on QantasLink Dash 400. Just a really short flight today, only about 45 minutes, but it was really smooth. Obviously a noisy plane, but I was surprised how smooth it was being up at the tropics at this time of year. Usually there's quite a lot of thunderstorm activity. But yeah, couldn't fault the crew, couldn't fault the service. Provided a small snack, cheese crackers, olives and almonds. That was pretty nice. And they even provided beer, wine, soft drink, tea, coffee. So that was really good. Certainly couldn't fault the crew. That was a really good flight today. Thank you very much for watching today's trip report between Townsville and Cairns as we're flying on a QantasLink Dash 400. Really hope you enjoyed the video today. and whether you may have enjoyed the views or found the commentary insightful. Really hope you found something of interest out of the flight review itself. Anyway, if you have, really appreciate if you give this video a like, hit that subscribe and bell button if you haven't already. Really motivates me to produce better and better content for you guys. Still keep an eye out on the channel. Definitely got more flight reviews coming in the next few weeks, and we're also going international again in April to Singapore, so there'll be some more international content coming up as well. Got plenty of other content lined up as well, like destination specific content, so that side of the channel should be getting a bit more of a boost as well in the coming weeks. But yeah, for now, also visit my website aussiejetsetter.com.au, where you see all those flight reviews, frequent flyer hacks, industry news, destination content and more. You can also visit my socials. I'll put a link in the description below. But yeah, for next time, thank you very much for watching, and safe travels wherever that might take you.